In 1993, there was an incident that we as Indonesians cannot forget. When in 1993, the governor of East Java announced a rise in the provincial minimum wage, Chata Putra Surya, a company with ties to the Indonesian military or industrial complex, refused to comply. Marsinah and her co-workers organized a strike and present PTCPS with 12 demands. These demands include maternity leave, menstrual leave, welfare insurance, holiday allowances, as well as food and transport guarantees. Negotiations were held between the laborers and PTCPS regarding 12 demands, including 20% increased wage. On 5 May 1993, the 13 workers were offered action were summoned to the military district command, or CODIM, and received inhuman treatment before being fired. Hearing this, Marsinah felt disapproved because the layoff violated the negotiation agreement. In the end, Marsinah got angry and threatened the company through a letter which was related to illegal protection of PTCPS. So Marsinah went courting by herself before finally her dead body was found. And 6 until 8 May, Marsinah's whereabouts were not found. Finally, 9 May 1993, Marsinah's body was found in a rice field held in Nganjuk, East Java, with wounds from the left pubic wall to the abdominal cavity, crushed pelvic bones, bruised intestines, and bleeding the stomach. So what's the relation between law enforcement and Marsinah cases? I'll tell you after this. Before we get in law enforcement, we have to know what is law. Law is the rules that aim to regulate social life made by an authorized institution that is binding and coercive and is subject to sanction for those who violate it. There are 3 basic principles of the rule of law. First, the existence of rule of law in which the law is above almost all laws applicable for everyone. Second, the equality before the law. And third, law enforcement. In this occasion, I like to tell you about law enforcement in Indonesia and its reality. The process of carrying out efforts to uphold or actually function legal norms as a guideline for actors in traffic or legal relation in the life of society and the state is known as law enforcement. The good law enforcement is one of criterion success nation to increase dignity, especially in law. Law should protect all societies living anywhere, so it can create the stability and safety life of our societies. The realization of law enforcement in Indonesia cannot occur without an existing legal basis. The legal basis of law enforcement is law or undang-undang. There are 5 articles of law as a legal basis in the embodiment of law enforcement. First, 1945 Constitution Article 24, Paragraph 1. Second, 1945 Constitution Article 27, Paragraph 1. Third, 1945 Constitution Article 28T, Paragraph 1. Fourth, 1945 Constitution Article 28A, Paragraph 1. Fifth, Law Number 39 of 1999 concerning human rights, Article 71. Law enforcement is aimed to, first, change the mindset of society. Second, the development of legal culture. Third, the guarantee of legal certainty. Fourth, legal empowerment. And finally, the fulfillment of justice. But the main aims of law enforcement is to create a sense of justice, legal certainty, and benefits in society. Law enforcement is also to aim at increasing order and legal certainty in society. This is done by regulating the function, duties, and other ideas of institution tasks, with enforcing the law according to the proportion of their respective scopes, and based on a good system of cooperation and supporting the goals to be achieved. The law embodiment of law enforcement in Indonesia is also realized by the existence of law enforcement agencies such as Indonesia National Police or Polri, Attorney of Republik Indonesia, Magistrate, Advocate, and Komisi Pemberantasan Korupsi or KPK. This law enforcement institute is responsible for enforce the law in the form maintaining public order, maintaining security, upholding the rule of law, upholding human rights, eradicating corruption, collusion, nepotism or KKN, and service to people who need justice. The embodiment of law enforcement in Indonesia cannot be embodied only with institutions, but also with community participation. The law enforcement is strongly influenced by the condition and social interaction that occur in a society. It can be included in a society that maintains or develops system of rights based on a status, or a society with sharp differences between the have and the have not. Besides that, it is also very necessary to have sensitive and activeness in society in respecting the rights of everyone, increasing ethics and morals with self-awareness and fulfilling obligation in society. But how about the reality of law enforcement in Indonesia? Has law enforcement in Indonesia been realized perfectly? There are so many cases of violation of law enforcement and social justice in Indonesia. For example, the cases of Munir, Nenek Minah that stole kakao, legal cases of three Sakti students, and the cases of Marsinah, and many more. Those cases show us how law enforcement in Indonesia, even Indonesian people also say, hukum tajam ke bawah dan tumpul ke atas. Another example is the case of Marsinah that I told earlier. From the case, we can see that how community participation and legal institutions were involved in this unfinished case in this occurrence. How people around her, despite of helping, they pushed her in her death. Because of this, the existence of a community of a legal awareness and further legal institution is very important. And how are efforts to uphold the law enforcement? We have to do from the basic one, mutual respect. We are from different races, gender, religion, and ethic, but we are still Indonesian. Have to be honest. If someone around you or someone that you know breaking the law or do outrage, we must immediately report it to the authorities. And of course, as a student, we have to have character building. For law enforcement agencies, they have laws to regulate them. The Indonesian government has also reformed several systems to improve the legal system in a hope that they can carry out their respective duties, functions, and responsibility. So that's about law enforcement in Indonesia.